Sunstreaker wasn't here. Welcome back to another Thursday live stream. As always, covering the hot topics and most important information on Transformers Earth Wars. So, thanks for joining me, guys. So, this week's stream, I'm not gonna lie, when I first woke up this morning, I thought I might have to cancel the stream again because of a cold. You can probably hear my voice again, but I'm sick of cancelling streams for colds. And I almost thought to myself that people are gonna start thinking that I'm faking these things just to not stream or something. But honestly, I keep getting these calls, guys. So yeah, I might be coughing a bit maybe in stream. I apologize. I don't like coughing in stream. I just think it's a bit, I don't know, a bit rude, a bit unprofessional. I don't know, but I don't want to let you guys down either. Like I said, I keep cancelling these streams because of colds. It's the only reason I ever cancel, really. But I'm not cancelling because of a cold. So yeah, listen, I feel all right, but I've got a bit of a cough, that sort of thing. So hey, we're gonna go through it. If I do cough, I apologise, guys. Some made a comment once about coughing into the mic, so I apologise. This week's stream, we're talking a lot about sort of war attacks. I see people still struggling, even though the wars are quite easy, I think. But there's certain things you have to consider and think about in these wars. And I feel like if people do these things, then it'll make their war average a lot better and make wars a lot easier for them. So I thought I'd go through some small steps that people have to consider if they want to better their scores. I feel like there's more and more people now playing wars because they are easy, which is a good thing. But I think that eventually the wars are going to get harder. I feel like the Space Ape are sort of slowly rolling these things now to let people keep catch up. So take advantage where you can, guys. Learn some good war techniques, and we'll hopefully get your scores a bit better. Going to talk a bit about balance changes. There's some balance changes coming, so we're going to talk a bit about that. There's nothing really set in stone, but I'm going to talk a bit about what I kind of expect to come, really. We're talking a bit about best builds. So I've had a lot of comments of people saying like, can you do best builds for this bot and that bot and this bot and that bot and things like that. And I could go through all the bots. I think I do like little spotlight videos of each. But I felt like what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through what I would consider the top, I think it's 15 combats in the game, and who I prefer to put them with and why, and have like at least 5 bots for each combat on why I would equip them on them and how I can use them on them combats, more than just doing a best build for each bot, because that can change over time. I think it's important to tell people why I'm choosing these things and why they match up, so people can learn these things and make their own choices rather than just following people blindly and just going, oh, I'm just going to put that because Wazza said to put it with it. I like to tell people why to put it with it. And then we're going to be covering the new Prime weapon, the Requiem Blaster. We're talking a bit about that as well, and when it's going to make Primes relevant, what I'm doing about Primes, how I see them going, and everything about Primes as well towards the end of the stream as well. But first off, a bit of announcement. Super pleased, some really good news. So YouTube have now put into their streams, I think videos, auto dubbing. So I think if you're from another country and don't speak English, a lot of people message me and I'm like, I'm sorry guys, I really don't understand what you're saying, things like that. I know a few people messaging the stream sometimes with other languages that I don't understand. So I believe there is auto dubbing available in the streams. Definitely for videos, I know that, but I think for streams as well it popped up, which is pretty cool. And something else that popped up, which is a bit weird, but I know you guys probably know better than me. It said that Apple are now allowing memberships. I always thought they were allowed, but yeah, apparently Apple members can now be Apple device people can actually now be members. I think I always thought it was a thing, but it popped up on the thing saying, "Hey, we've brought something new out." I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that. That's weird." Anyway, some quick news. Anyway, but let's see who we've got in the stream. We've got Blade 19 who was first, and thanks for being a member as always, buddy. Thank you. Buddy Freezes Max, who's usually streaming after me, so go and check him out after my stream as well. As Freezes said, but not now though. Later on, don't leave my stream. It's not streaming now anyway, if you wanted to. Ricky Lau as well, welcome to the stream. Fab33, how's it going? Volcanica69 as always. My buddy Grind Time, who's always here. Very rare he's not. You'd be glad to know that England won as well in football, real football. Play Wales in a friendly, so we're doing all right. Looking forward to the World Cup coming next summer in America. It's gonna be quite strange over there as well. Like I've been told it's like 2 a.m. in the morning kickoff times. Think that actually. I think I have to stream at this time. It's like 9:30 p.m. for me to try and catch the American people after work. So I can imagine that the games were really, really late, like 11 o'clock, 2 in the morning for us. So it's going to be interesting staying up to that time watching games. Then we've got Candice McAlright. Welcome back. We've got Giga08, we've got Eros, we've got my buddy Cheeto. Good to see you. A few people have been asking for some more Cheeto stuff. Put it in the chat if you want some more Cheeto stuff and what you'd like us to do. We've got Robert Papis. Welcome to the stream. Think you're a new viewer. Good to see you. We've got Trax as well, one of our moderators as well. Thanks for joining. We've got Matty, our buddy Candyman, who mentioned me today. Good to see you, buddy. Stephen Gomez as well, one of my long-serving members as well. Good to see you. We've got Block Boy. We've got Berserk as well. Welcome back. We've got, it's jumped ahead. RG Optimus Primates. We've got Predicate 19, who says he's back. Back from where? We've got Ivan Tan as well. Hello, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. We've got Chris Harmon. Good to see you, buddy. King Grimlock as well. Good to see you. And I think that is everyone. If I missed anyone, apologies. Let me know. But let's see what everyone's talking about. I know a lot of people ask about new G1s and the balance changes, nerfs, buffs. We'll go through that. Don't worry, guys. I think we've got some good news. A lot of talk about this weekend's event. We'll also talk about that as well as always. We'll talk about bugs. I mean, there's always bugs. Hey. Tracks. So now Waz, I can speak Spanish. I want to hear this dubbing. Me too. I might put a dubbing on Streams' stream. Streams. That's a good name, isn't it? Just put come to America and watch the World Cup with me. If only. If flights were cheaper, I would. Honestly, flights are ridiculous. Candice McAlright, but before Apple users had to use external browser, YouTube didn't allow them direct before because Apple takes such a massive cut from all purchases. 50%. Wow. I don't know what's changed though. Me neither. But hey. What else? What speaking Spanish would be my ringtone? That'd be good, wouldn't it? Imagine. Alright, Pappy says, but I'm new here, but I watch you for a long time. Welcome to the stream then. Really good to have you live. So yeah, if you've got any questions as well, as always, I always say this. Listen, if you've got any questions, stick it in the chat, guys. I'll come to it eventually. I do scroll back in between sort of subjects I do want to talk about because obviously I do subjects that I want to make videos of. But obviously, if you're live, you can ask me questions after it. Ask me questions about anything you want. Don't matter what it is. Stick it in the chat apart from that question, which Grindtime knows about. And there's a bit of a egg ball chat as well as always. Grindtime, I wouldn't fly in the US right now. Why? Like, I don't know. Is it any different than any other time? I don't know. I would have a plane. Well, yeah. Predicting 19. I would love to see a new bot. Me too. I know. Prime sort of took that away a bit. It was a huge release. But I do want a new bot, definitely. And lastly, I'm drinking milkshake today, so I thought I'd change. Can you have Crusher in America? You know, just put it with milk and makes a milkshake. Crusher, Nesquik. You know, let me know. It's like pure interest. Kingdom. Oh boy, Grant, I have too much to explain. Yeah, I haven't got a clue, honestly. Time you say huge release, I say huge disappointment. Yeah, they are slightly. Well, slight is an understatement. Yeah. And Blade Nancy like Go Broncos. People put these names like Go Broncos, Go Eagle. I haven't got a clue. Honestly, like the only thing that obviously I look out for is Chiefs now, because I know that Grind Time sports with Chiefs. So I've seen them, and I've seen the Chiefs were playing. Were they over in the UK? Don't even know. Tracks and milkshake as ice cream, you knew. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It's not called an ice cream shake. It's called a milkshake. It has milk in it. Don't get me started on this. This can't be a thing. Milkshake, yes, some have ice cream in them, some doesn't. Simples. Um, Daniel Noguera, I've got that right. Apologies if you haven't. Hello. And Ultimate Phil just coming as well. Good to see you as well, buddy. Cool, cool. Right, let's get into the newsletter then. So this, who does that bomb? I've tried replicating in that. I don't know. Someone's doing it. It's quite funny. I mean, don't stop, but it's funny. This weekend's event is called Armed and Dangerous. So it's an individual totalizer, not mayhem. Again, I've kind of made the decision that I'm not gonna play any events unless they're mayhem now. Really, I just don't enjoy the small events or the events with just one battles. I really don't enjoy them. I want to smash my events out as quick as possible, and I feel like they should make every event mayhem now. But I understand that if they do that, then events can be super easy to complete and the points might go up. Maybe I wouldn't mind it though. I suppose that I suppose doing an event for 30k doing one battle is the same as doing a 70k event in Mayhem, I presume. Or thereabouts. So I'm getting at though. But I don't know. There's just something about Mayhem that I like, and something about normal battles that I don't. It's fine on two time consuming right now, but 30,000 points with non-points is a really slow event, really long for me. So I'm not, even though I've got the weekend off, I've got all the time in the world. I just can't be bothered. If I'm perfectly honest, bring back mayhem. That's what I say. But this weekend's event, I've got some decent prizes. In obviously, most importantly, is 100,000 Megatronus Spark to upgrade your Megatronus. Then we've got obviously bot XP, some Spark, some shards, and some premium shards. So I always say this that I don't really need 5-star shards. I don't need 4-star shards. I've got like 70,000 4-star, 700,000, 700,000 4-star shards just saved there. That's not including the 10k 5-star shards I've got and the 14,000 crystals I've got and the 300,000, 3 million? 3 million prem shards. So I've got more shards than I can throw at a donkey. I've got loads. So I don't need shards. So get rid of that. Spark, I'm actually at a point. I don't play with cons. Forget cons. Nah. Don't play with cons. Although I prefer cons in terms of like, lore, I'm not all about starting another team on a con side. Can't bother with that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Apart from Grindtime and Cheeto, obviously. But no. So I'm getting to a point now where I've literally got too much spark than what I need. I think if I use all my spark in my inventory now and all the spark I've got, I could rank up every single bot I've got to 10 or 11. Done. And I would not need spark ever again, really. So I'm at that point now where I'm actually going to go overflowing with spark and have to start putting spark into cons. Sadly, and start maybe pulling 5-star cons. Crazy. So I don't need shards and I don't need spark. I've just took my last combiner as well to level 24, which is Victorium. Once she is 25, every single combiner I've got is level 25 as well. I know, listen, there's plenty of people out there going, yeah, first world problems, was it? I know, I get it. I've played the game for a long time. But the point being is that these events should be for everyone. Whether you're a new player, whether you're a mid-term player, an experienced player, or a proper old school player like myself, they should be for everyone. But there needs to be another use for these shards or something. Because I don't need shards, I don't need spark. I don't need bot XP really. I mean, I can get a lot more than that. 5 million XP, I can get that in 2 battles. So, I'm mayhem mode. So I don't need XP either. So the only thing I would play in this event for is the Megatron Spark, if I wanted that. So that is it really. But obviously being the new thing that everyone wants to chase, Megatron Spark is going to be quite important, I think, down the line. No battle zones, as always. No saga schedule, which is really disappointing that we criticised them last week. We criticised them always about planning, and we're told it's going to get better, it's going to improve. Well, proof is in the pudding. That is the same. And it ain't getting any better. The saga schedule is getting worse. So They dragged the last one out and made it a four-week saga or something. Now is it an 8-week saga? Are we into the saga? We started the saga? Who knows what's going on? Just seems like they're just throwing events out with an idea, just putting Megatron Spark in every single event. Then go and check out your content creators. Obviously, myself, obviously Free, just in the chat we spoke about. Go and check out Soldier and CF as well. I do like watching Croto though. Recently, does a lot of war replays. Things like that. So if you're interested in wars, go and check out Croto as well. I do like his videos, so go and check him out as well. Some bug fixes. So there was an issue where incorrect stat values were showing on Megatronus. Upgraded to 5. Yeah, so it was at level 4, it got an X amount, went to 5, and it changed. I weren't sure whether that was actually the case or just a visual error, so I kept mine at 4, but apparently it's a visual error. They added the health upgrade values to Megatron's Prime description. Okay. They fixed an issue where Huffer's G1 heal displayed the wrong power core icon. Okay, a small little fix, but just a quality of life fix, I suppose. They fixed an issue where the Prime Lab was not available to HQ12. That was a big one because it did say 8, and I saw a few players saying, why can I get it? In chats, things like that. So, yeah, it's available for HQ8 now, so that's good. They corrected Megatronus Prime special ability description. Okay. I did hit Dale up earlier, but didn't get back to me about... I went to anyway, but he's busy, I think. But Megatronus' ability on... the test server is different than online. I weren't sure why, so I do need to speak to him about that. So when I do show Megatronus Prime and the Requiem Blaster later, don't take it as gospel that is the ability. I'll speak to Dale and find out what's going on. Then they fixed the post-battle text where Primes at max XP. What? XP level requiring a Prime level upgrade would point to upgrade the Prime in the lab instead of upgrading the lab. Okay. That makes kind of sense. Now I've read it again. They fixed it where it was showing that a Prime requiring you need to upgrade the Prime rather than the lab, I think. Anyway, it's been fixed. Cool. No team streams, obviously, until the next big release, I presume. So yeah, that's everything in the news. Quite a sparing newsletter, really. Not much in there, information-wise. Not great. See what else people are saying. Cheat on my milkshake things on the box to the yard. London's Corner put my favourites fridge. Fridge. I can never pronounce that actually. I've always thought fridge. I don't know. Yeah, I find that quite powdery though. I don't know why. I find it quite dry. Yeah. Jackson put Annie on the bar, which is relevant, yeah. What else? Also, what Phil's brought, I ended up liking the last event. Earning additional fuel cells to help me hit 50k. With just a side pass with 12 hours left to go in the event. Yeah, I didn't mind the sell bit. I didn't mind. I just didn't like the fact that they said that was compensation. That really frustrated me. That was annoying. King Grimlock put the fuel payout was in the right direction for sure. Encouraging playing, yeah, I suppose, but then isn't that just the same as putting more battles in there? I mean, like, if they made it a 40k event with no fuel cells, isn't that the same as making it a 45k event with fuel cells, maybe? It's kind of the same thing, isn't it, really? If we went to inventory, I'd be a lot more like, I like this, it's pretty cool. And I don't know why they got this where they won't have fuel cells in inventory. Why won't they let people save up and then blow it in one big event? Why not? I don't know, it baffles me. Daniel Noguera has asked, is Metroplex 5-star worth it? I think so. I still use Metroplex rather than Fort Max, but I think once 5-star Arc comes out, it'll blow them both out of the water, I think. The only thing Metroplex has got going for him, what everyone else has not got going for them, is that his is not elemental. So when people start putting anti-acid cores, anti-fire cores, whatever else, things like that around the shield gen, that's going to impact your Titan's ability to take that out. And that's why most people will use their Titan nowadays, is to take out the shield gen, because the Titan battle lasts a long time, usually till the end of the battle. So before, when there were 4-star Titans, they died 3/4 of the way through and it make an impact on the battle a bit. Now, because the HP's gone through the roof, not so much. tend to last a lot longer. And so the big thing for Titans is to take out the shield gen. You can use the Titan Blast more on the base now as well without worry of losing your Titan. So they're a bit imbalanced in that sense because they don't really impact the battle so much. But taking out the shield gen with your Titan and a ability is easier with Metroplex because he's not elemental. So I would definitely say Metroplex is definitely worth it if you're a low, mid, or even quite high tier player. I think if you're top of the tier, like, you know, Prime League top levels, then they might say that you need Fort Max or eventually Arc. But I think that Metroplex 5-star will last quite a while and be really, really good. I really do. Predaking 19s, but how about release something souls that have Prime Core shards saved up? We can use them for something. Yeah, I agree. This is the problem. We've got a lot of resources that everyone is overflowing with because they're trying. I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to get new players into the game and keep the resources going towards them. They still need 5-star shards. They still need 4-star shards. They still need Prem shards. But for me, I've always said that at every stage of the game, you should be playing for something. So even the Prem shards, I kind of get the Prems, but the way that you can make people open Prems and open 5-star and 4-star crystals is by creating new cores. Now, when's the last time you had a new core? I mean, they changed the cores from stun to electric and cryo water, but we already had them cores already. But when's the last time they brought out a core where they made us open crystals for it? Because prime cores, you needed fuel for it. Yeah, you needed cores to fuse into it. Yeah. When's the last time they brought out an actual core? I'm trying to think. That's... God. Must be a while ago. Must be the anti-fire Billbot core. And the anti-acid core, surely. It's a while anyway. You know, they need to bring out some new cores and think a bit outside the box, and that'll help defense as well. Grind time's throwing out a donkey. What the hell are you doing over here? Why are you throwing anything at a donkey? Call it animal welfare. Right, if I had a donkey, you'd have a point, but I ain't got a donkey. So it's really hard to be you know, hitting donkeys when you haven't got one. But you never know. I mean, buy me a donkey. Donate. And then I'll hit it. That's not so bad. Who has a spare donkey just lying around to abuse? Yeah. First world problems. Cheetos put my bind has been maxed for as long as I can remember. Well, yeah, no doubt. You probably coined him as well. For the King 19s, but we're about at the end of the saga. And, well, no, we're not. We're like, did a 4-week saga, didn't there? A short one. Then did the primes as week 1 and week 2, I think. So we're 3 weeks into a saga, I think. Who knows? Carnage Macau has put the saga as just a saga at this point. Yeah, no one knows. Cheeto, I have a llama. Right, done deal. I'm gonna get a fly over to America, and I've got to throw things at Cheeto's llama instead. Okay, it's close enough. It's close enough. Candyman's put they should make a combine a team solo mission option. Mine are all gathering dust. Which is making it more relevant, I suppose, isn't it? But again, it's all about you should be able to. I keep saying this and it's quite boring, but you should be able to look at a base and go, "Oh, I need to use that combiner." Ideally, you can use any combiner, but the anti-fire Billbot should work really well against Volcanicus. But I understand that. Sorry, I understand that a lot of players might struggle with that. So maybe it's a Prime League thing, maybe it's a Unicron thing, where also like fire Billbots can't be killed, and so literally you can't use anything fire pretty much. I don't know, but I just feel like there should be somewhere or some place at the top level of the game where you can't use something, and so the people at the top of the game need to have multiple bots, need to have multiple combiners, because most of us should by now, at the very top of the game anyway. And there should be something that utilizes that says, you know, I don't agree with this, like, you know, this war system where it's like you need 5 teams of 8, 40 bots maxed out. I think that's a bit unrealistic. To be perfectly honest with you, maybe not in current effects, but I think it's quite unrealistic. But the combiners should have different uses and bots different uses. Like you shouldn't be able to use fire on one base and acid on another. And yeah, you get the gist. Deshaun's put, will the Halloween skins be coming back to the game? I presume so. Yeah, if they can get a saga out. Breaking 19, can they please play test the bots more? We've all said that. We've all said that. Yeah, Block Boys. I wish it would let us put buy FC into inventory. Yeah, me too. Who remembers the days of the rotating bundles and you had to buy it and then keep yourselves and not play the game for 3 days? Wow. Who remembers that? That was crazy. Back when you had a leaderboard and you wait for the bundle, you're like, yes, the bundles come up and you'd buy 1 or 2. And then keep it. You keep like 1,000 cells in inventory, ready for the leaderboard weekend. Madness. Since then, should have been able to put in inventory. Why is the Alpha Trion defense core such a speed bump? My fault. My fault. And why I got kicked out of playtest because they tried making the Alpha Trion core increase range, and I was like, listen, it needs to do something around points. That's what Alpha Trion is. All the prime cores copy what the attack cores do in a sense and relate to them. So this one needs to be the same. Now listen, if we would have brought up the defense prime cores and they were all different, then fair enough. But they did it to sort of make sense, which I agree with. That they'd be familiar, so people knew what they'd do, and Liège being hack and Megatronus being fire and etc. So why should Alpha Trion be different? And they'll basically saying like, we haven't got the tech for it, and I'll say, well, why have you started this thing when you haven't got the tech to do it, and you just set off just throwing something together? So ridiculous, really, and they didn't like it and kicked me out. Yeah. Freddy King put in prime core shards, exchanging for 5-star shards. I don't think that's gonna happen. 5-star shards. I don't think. Trax has bought the problem with if anti-fire can't be killed, they will need 1 electric, 1 acid, 1 fire, 1 cryo close together on 1 base. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I remember saying this last time and then thinking about that and going, yeah, that's a bad idea, but I don't know. Or maybe it's having really high health, maybe, so that you have to take them out, maybe. Take 1 out, maybe. I don't know. Blade 19, but we should have been able to use Prime Core Shard to level up the primes. That's a good point. It's a good idea. Yeah. Traxxas bought the AT core doesn't allow you to gain points in area until you take out the defense. That's what I sort of said, or I said that it takes a point off you while it's on the battlefield, or it makes certain defenses in an area you don't get any points from them. So if you put it near 10 defenses, and 10 defenses don't give you any points back if you kill them. Something like that would be pretty cool, but no. Yeah, like Cheetos put, make it deduct points exactly the same as the Alpha Triangle, but in reverse. Anything around points, I think, would work. Anything. But apparently it is, they haven't got the tech, so they can't do it. So, yeah. Sadly. Cool. Do you want to change my whole base, saying that, oh, when Primes come out, it's going to be really important you're a front-loaded base because Prime's going to be really important? Yeah, that changed quite quickly. Cool. Okay. Okay. So, I see people still struggling in wars a fair bit. And there's certain things in wars that people really need to consider. And I feel like they're kind of the silver bullets of wars that you really need to watch out for. Now, for me, I've always said that your bot splitting is really important. Hang on. Start again, eh? What a noob. You can't even see my base. Literally was there showing my base and you can't even see it. So I start again. So, I've seen a lot of people recently struggling in wars. And I feel like there's certain things in wars that people really need to consider to improve. Certain silver bullets that people really need to make sure doesn't happen to improve in wars. Now, for quite a while, I always said that splitting your bots was one of the most important things. But I've had some wars recently where my bots have split and I've still been quite successful. Now, for me, when I watch most replays, or when I even consider it myself, the reason that I usually fail, if I do, is because my bots have been hacked. Because I feel like most defenses now can't really harm my bots that much. When you've got pipes that can rush ahead and give your bots a shield and take all the damage, when you've got healers keeping your bots alive, you've got all these things. But what's the most thing that can damage my bots? Now, I've ramped most of my bots up to general. So they've got crazy DPS on my gunners. And the one thing that can really kill me is my bots actually killing my own bots. And so hack is so important on defense right now. With everyone having Liege on the defense, with having Peacemaker in terms of combats on bots that can hack as well. And then obviously you've got Cosmos or Mindwipe that can hack as well. And I feel like they sort of determine whether people survive or not. And so quite a while ago I did a video comparing some bots. But I've come to the conclusion that I've made a decision on who I think is definitely a huge part of this that can rectify it, and that is Overload. And for me, I wouldn't do without him at all in my war attacks because he's so important. So not only does he provide a shield if I need to, he also creates hack immunity. So there are times on attacks where I use him just like Trax, where I just use him to shield my team and just keep them alive, basically. The hack immunity is quite irrelevant. It's just a shield 15 seconds. But there's also times where the likes of Mindwipe, Cosmos pop out of an outpost, and you've got Peacemaker hitting your bots, and you really don't want your own gunners hitting your own healers and your own warriors, special bots, whatever you got at the front, protecting them. And this guy, honestly, is something else for me. Honestly, and I wouldn't do without him. I think it's important that you have something like the Age on him, or some combat to stop him getting hacked himself. Peacemaker, I like Peacemaker on him for defense as well, because you have him on defense. I think he's great for defense. But Overload, I feel like people overlook him so much. People use Trax and they use Trailbreaker and use all the bots in there. People use one healer, two healer, and everyone sort of use their own team. But I don't see many people using Overload that much. And I feel like it's the answer to a lot of people's problems of bots being hacked. So if you are having problems with when you pop the outpost, getting hacked by Peacemaker, because everyone's throwing Peacemaker in outposts. If you are getting hacked by Mindwipe or Cosmos and it's causing chaos with your bots or losing health quite quickly and losing key bots, consider putting this guy in your team rather than Trax or rather than another warrior or a gunner or a second healer. And it'd be absolutely immense for you. Honestly, 3 ability points for the first use, 7 for the second, even 10 for the third. 11 for the third, sorry. Absolutely crazy good, guys. So yeah, if you are having problems with hack on defense, consider using this guy and you won't go wrong and he will help you a lot. Give it a try, guys. Stick him in your war team and let me know if it's helped you at all. See what everyone else is saying. But you just threatened to throw Cheeto out as if you would. Oswald Fells, yes. A bot you had to pay for and can't currently chase for shards is the meta bot. Sounds about right. You can still use the 4-star. The 4-star is still available, I'm pretty sure. Still very good. So don't get too disillusioned because the 4-star still protects and still gives hack immunity regardless. So let's have a look at the 4-star. Oh, the 4-star, I think. Yeah. So yeah, the only difference is that it's only takes ability 11. It does take 11, but 40% damage reduction still. That's the only difference, is 10% damage reduction, which is nothing really. So a 4-star is still, useful.
Traxxas put, don't use gunners in war, then you don't have to worry about them getting hacked. You still need gunners with a high DPS. I feel like if you don't use gunners and using special bots, then I think you're just gonna struggle a bit. I mean, 851 DPS compared to likes of, I mean, he's special to 807, but compared to 1100, and then Sunstreak even quite low level 1100 as well. Give you like 50% DPS increase using gunners. I feel like I wouldn't go to war without a gunner or two, personally. Hmm. Freezer Smacks has brought out a few teammates that live by Overload. Definitely underrated. Yeah, honestly, immense. Really, really, really good. Honestly, I thought about going for 5-star tracks, and now I'm like, no, I'll stick with Overload. And I think it'll be my war team as long as people have mind wiping outposts and whether they have peacemaking outposts. As long as that happens, I feel like I'll have him in there. Cheetah Traxxas, but he doesn't like him because he doesn't move much, which is what that's why. Yeah, but it's just so when I use him, it tends to be in a place where they popped outposts, and so they are fighting the outposts, and with high HP outposts being the most used outpost in the game, really, along with a couple of others. You tend to find that you sat there just pounding on them, killing them, and so you can use Overload then in that area. But even sometimes your warriors might walk off and Overload's around your gunners and your healers, and that's the main ones trying to protect. So if you use an Overload and it doesn't quite cover pipes or rook or whatever box you're trying to use, then it's okay as long as it covers your gunners. That's the main thing. But again, to the point where you said you don't use gunners and you use, melee bots, then that's gonna be even more a problem because Overload sits back from everyone else. So yeah, it is gonna be a problem. So yeah. Jay Roberts, what's up, Sugar? 2 weeks in a row. Good to see you, buddy. um, we're talking. Nah, I think you got him wrong. I think you got him wrong. I prefer him honestly. Listen, this is what the game's about, though, isn't it? Listen, we're all to the same thing. It'd be quite boring. I like the fact that you have got Trailbreaker and Tracks, and you've got Overlord to do three different things really, but still the same utility to protect your bots. So I like that. But yeah, J Roberts, but 100% support you. Stay independent and call it straight. I like to think so. Even though some people said that's not the case, some weird reason. All of a sudden, I changed overnight for a month and I went back to myself. Yeah, like that's happening. CF Tactics, but any suggestions with strategizing with the primes? Yeah, don't use them. Tactics, but I just want Overload to move. Yeah, but I feel like if you've got a bot that does everything, it's like then you're just like, oh, it's too much like Trailbreaker. I feel like because he sits still, it's something a bit different. So I don't mind it too much. Yes, he would be better if he moves. I think maybe, but I don't mind him not moving. I like the fact it's a bit different. I like the fact that he uses his and stays there. I like the fact that Trax uses his and then moves himself. Doesn't stay with it. I like the fact that Trailbreaker moves. It's three different things. So yeah, cool. Freezes Max can be fast forward to the part when Lover loves the primes. Oh, we're going to talk about that, aren't we? Yeah, cool. Cheeto, a two-legged dog is different. Don't make him better. If you put a car on the back of him, maybe it is better. Might go faster. Who knows? Might be better. Why are we talking about two-legged dogs in my stream? What the hell? Cool. Next up, so been quite a bit of talk in playtest about balance changes, and as soon as we mention this, people start losing their minds. Oh no, not balance changes again! They're gonna nerf everyone. That's kind of the reaction you get. But if you remember correctly, that in the first balance change, yes, it was quite hefty, but there was some bots that seriously needed bringing back in line. The second one wasn't too bad, but the buffs that happened, a couple of them were maybe a bit overkill. But the good news is that Dale said that they're trying not to change too many bots too much. And the idea is just to change costs. So there is going to be a balance change close to Christmas. There'll be a big balance change where they will create some big balance changes. It's been announced. It's coming, guys. Get ready for it. But there's definitely going to be more buffs than nerfs, without a doubt. So we know that Sunstreak is on the list. We know that Rustos is on the list. We know that Ratchet is on this list of bots that are quite overpowered. But as I said, the good news is that they're looking at just cost changes for the time being. So those that are invested in Rustdust should still have the same effectiveness, the same use, but should probably be more expensive to the point where you can't maybe use it 3 times, where you might use it 3 or 4 times now. You might only use it 2 or 3 times now because it's more expensive. You might find someone else useful, you might not. So I think it's a good strategy to follow, that they're not going to really change them too much so they're useless or less useful. And they're not trying to reinvent the wheel. They're just trying to make some small changes. And along with them changes are incremental and small, for me, I would probably put Rustdust at 5+4 personally. 5+4 and leave it at that and see how it goes. And if she's still massively overpowered by Christmas or in between, then you can look at 6+4. But I think if they made it 5+4, it wouldn't be ridiculous. It's not a point where everyone's like, oh my god, I want a refund, I can't use Rustdust anymore, I've put so much into her. You're just like, okay. So, yeah, I'll still use all the once to clear an area. Maybe the twice, but 3 times is going to get a bit costly now. And so, hopefully, I'm just guessing, but I think it's going to be the same for Sunstreaker. Probably the same for Ratchet, where we'll just see a cost change to make them a bit more difficult to use multiple times. So let me know what you guys think. Any of the bots you think should be on this list of changes to be made. If we're just talking cost changes, nothing, massively in terms of changing bots and reinventing the wheel on them. But yeah, what bots would you like to see buffed? And if you were to change Rustdust and Sunstreaker's cost, what would you change it to make it more relevant? Let me know in the comments, guys. Looking forward to these changes to make some bots a bit more difficult to use, some bots a bit more relevant, and freshen the game up. Playing 90 at the start of the brain cells to reinvent the wheel. But I can't keep up with the meta that changes in this game. Most games have that, to be fair. They have meta that changes. So, yeah. Freezes Max has put 5+4 for Rustdust is fair. Yeah, I think so. I don't think that'd kill her. 5+4. I think it'd be quite reasonable. Yeah, I think we definitely need to do something with fire. I still see Leo Prime being used here and there, which I think we've got it maybe about right with 7+4 then. So maybe Rustdust should be 6+4 maybe. But let's go 5+4 and then go from there maybe. Mattis put, I don't mind any balancing as long as and buffs don't make more OP content. I think it always will slightly though, because they're never gonna get it exactly right. Maybe not OP, but there are gonna be some bots that come really good because of the changes eventually. I don't think cost change value too much. But there's really gonna be some really good changes, I think. That's where I get annoyed. Stop making OP content people chase, then level, then nerf. Yeah, I kind of get your point. You've got a point there, to be fair. And this is why I think they should be doing smaller changes. Like I said, instead of just going, I think Rustdust should be 6+4. I think, really. Leo Prime's 7+4. Does 11.5k damage over 10 seconds. Rustdust does more than 8.5k. Is that wrong? I don't know. Is that because of this? Does this stack on top of this? I don't know. But over 10 seconds. But yeah, it's crazy amount of damage that she actually does. So yeah, I just feel like she's just really cheap. But I suppose that she is a lot. Yeah, if she does 8.5k, it's a lot less than Leo Prime. So maybe 5+3 is legit. Should be. Firepower support. It takes so long for me to level up bots that if they nerf all the ones that are good, it would take me over a year to catch up and it would change by then. Yeah, but the point being is that you say that, oh, it takes me so much time to level bots that they nerf all the ones that are good. But the ones that are bad that you've got will also come good. So it doesn't matter. You could level up. The idea is that you'll level up any bot in the game and it will be useful. So you haven't got to chase that one bot. You haven't got to chase them 3 bots and go, I've got to go and get them bots. I've got to go and chase them. I've got to pull from that batch. You can pull from whatever batch you want because that bot sort of suits you or you like that batch or whatever. And that makes it a bit more easier to create a war team and a bit of difference in war teams because all the bots are irrelevant in some way. Yes, listen, we're never going to have a perfect system where every bot is the same. It's not going to happen. But what we don't want is examples of people having bots like this where we've got likes of Orion Pax, Alpha Triumph, Brawn, Cybertron Jetfire, Hound Vamp, Dust Up, bots like that, Cheeto, Pyromagna, Strafe at like level 1 where people are like, oh my god, I can't have pulled them. We want to get rid of that and give them a good use. Obviously some more bots than that, but you get the idea. Yeah, make cup cost more. There is some talk about cup as well, because he's just popping out posts too easily. But yeah, I believe there will be something with cup. I don't know what, whether it's for this time round or whether it's going to be near Christmas. But yeah, I think it was going to be along with the airdrop thing. I think. Jeff M has put, when was the last time they did what you felt was about right? That's the main concern. I think the first balance changes were right. I really do. I think that it took too long. I think that's a problem. They did announce it though quite early, but the game was stale for about a year when they were doing the changeover to the new studio. And I think the Leo Prime, Beachcomber, Optimus, and Blue Street changes had to happen. I do. Whether it was a bit too far, we don't know, but it definitely needed to happen. Definitely did the right thing in terms of that. So, Trax Sport, if you think Rustos is cheap, you should use it 4 or 5 times. So, I think I could take this whole section out here, this whole top section, for 22 points. Using it 4 times. That is cheap. To destroy most of the base for 22 points, that is cheap. Super cheap. Because you're just going damage, you're going off the area, and it stacks as well. So you're talking a 17k damage. 17k damage. So clearing any area out as big as she does for 11 points. That is crazy. She can literally take out half a map. Or a quarter of a map, I would say. She can take out a quarter of a map for 11 points. That's cheap. Super, super cheap. Firepower, all the Victorian bots aren't good, except for Rustus. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Transport, they should just make Cup invisible to Op when he jumps again. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of talk about making him invisible. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of talk about making him stealth. I think he'll probably get a cost increase as well, I think the airdrop thing will get fixed or sold, whatever, I think as well. So yeah, Sack's going to take quite a hit because a lot of people are using Sack right now because it's just meta, it's just super, super easy. And I kind of get it. But, you know, like anything with balance, something's really, really easy to do and that is the meta, then it's going to get changed maybe. Yeah. I even thought that healers heal too much because walks are so easy right now. But I suppose pathing affects a lot in walks, but I don't know. Walks I find are really, really easy. Cool. Next up. Okay. So, as I said earlier, I was going to pick out some combats and put my top 5 bots to equip them to. So obviously these are not set in stone. There's nothing to say that you can't deviate from this. But these are the reasons why I would put these on these bots and why I would pair them up. If you want to get some best builds, I have done some best build videos. You can go and check them out. But we're just looking at combats for now with what bots they suit. So to kick it off, we're going to start with Nightstick and Fracas, which is obviously a ranged combat. And for me, the top one is Rustdust and Scavenger. So the reason that I put Rustdust and Scavenger at the top is that I've also put some of these bots in there by how much they are used in the game by top players, whether it be on defense, whether it be on offense. So obviously some of these might change in time as newer bots come through, but right now Rustdust and Scavenger are probably the most used bot in the game. Absolutely crazy amount of damage that they do. And so Nightstick and Fracas, the reason I put Nightstick and Fracas on Rustdust and Scavenger is that they tend to walk off and get in trouble. Now, if you've got Rustdust with a G1, that heals, and if you've got Nightstick, that heals as well. So it just keeps her alive that bit more. And with her running off, that's really, really important. So you either need something that's going to keep her back, which Nightstick got decent range, or you need something that's going to protect her and keep her alive. Next off, we've got Sunstreaker. So again, similar reason for that is that Sunstreaker is one of the best bots in the game right now, and so that Nightstick with the healing again is just beneficial on anyone in your team. Next up, we've got Cosmos and Mindwipe, and the reason I picked Cosmos and Mindwipe as well is on defense. So you've got the acid from the defense, which obviously stops healing, which heals them themselves as well. And then you've obviously got the ranged amount of damage that they do in an outpost. And a similar sort of reason for Overload and Demolisher as well. But obviously, as we go down, I'm sort of saying that if you've got a choice who to put it on, I would put it on Rustdust primarily. And if you've got another combat on Rustdust, then maybe use it for the second choice or the third choice. But Overload Demolisher, really good option again for defense. And then fifth, I put Trax and Cutthroat. I just feel like you need a decent ranged combat on Trax and Cutthroat. I feel like you're looking at either Nightstick and Fracas, or you're looking at Flak, or you're looking at Peacemaker for Trax. I think is ideal. But personally, I really like Nightstick and Fracas on Trax and Cutter. Next up, we've got Peacemaker, and Peacemaker for me goes on a defense bot primarily. So for me, Overload and Demolisher is definitely a priority. Again, for defense, definitely the priority for Peacemaker with that hack. Cosmos and Mindwipe for the same reason, that on defense with that hack from Peacemaker is crazy. And then Swoop and Scourge, we still see Swoop and Scourge in Outpost. We need something that gives them good DPS, good amount of damage, and obviously can hack as well. You can use Overload on attack as well. You can use other combats as well, but I just feel like Peacemaker with that hack helps you keep your bots alive as well. Then we've got Red Alert and Run Amok, again for defense, really, really good. Can use it on attack, but we see it more on defense. And then we've got Blades and Dirge. Just feel like Blades and Dirge already hacked themselves anyway, just give them more hack is just great. Not really for defense, but more for on attack. But really, really good bot to keep them ranged and back from defenses hitting them. Next up, we've got Jahzee and Barrow, which is equipable on Warriors, but the first choice is Beachcomber and Deluge. And the reason is that they're an exception. They're the only bot on this list where they are actually not even a warrior, but they're only equipable to warriors. And that was when they first come out, they were made an exception. And so that's what's made them so good and so used on defense so much, is simply because they can use Jahzee and Barrow. It's definitely the priority. Then we've got the likes of Pipes, Rook, Slug, Nose Cone, your general warriors, and this sort of health increase really helps just to keep them alive and give them that boost as well. It also removes shields as well when you compare it to these bots, so putting it on those on attack even helps as well against other outpost bots when you're attacking. So really, really good combat on defense and attack. Next up, we've got Buzzstrike and Lancelon, and the main reason that these are on the list and others aren't, there's probably a few where people are like, well, these are quite similar, but the reason that these are mainly on the list is that they have anti-hack. Now, hack is massive at the minute on offense and on attack, and on defense. But likes of Bashbreaker, other combats that are quite similar. Although Bashbreaker's got acid and that might help, I just feel like Buzzstrike and Lancelot with the anti-hack makes that bit of difference. But I feel like obviously because they go on warriors and specials, it's usually I would use them on high HP, high. Usually I would put them on high damage bots rather than high HP bots for the simple reason that you want to stop them getting hacked, because if they do get hacked, they're going to do a crazy amount of damage. If Pipes gets hacked for some reason, it's not as vital really to your team losing a bot. Maybe if Pipe starts attacking your gunners are not going to take much damage from Warrior, and that's why Tazkid and Antagonist are the #1 pick for me, because he's absolutely crazy good in terms of damage, and one bot that you don't want getting hacked. Same from Optimal and T2 Meg, same for Leo Prime and Predaking, for the simple reason that you don't want them guys getting hacked, turning your bots and doing a crazy amount of damage back on them. And then you've obviously got Pipes and Rook. Now for me, they're two of the best warriors in the game. And the reason you don't want them hacked is not because they're going to do damage against your own bots, anything like that, but the fact that if you get hacked, you can't utilize them and you can't protect your bots. So although they're quite important, I would definitely look at a high damage bot for Buzzstrike and Lancelot. Next, we've got Terraxodon and Pterodactyl, and similar sort of reason that what you want is you want to put them on a bot that does high damage because they heal based on their damage done. It also works for abilities, so you want a bot that has a high damage ability. And that's why we've got Tazkid and Antagonist, because they do so much damage in an area. Why you've got Optimal 2-2 Meg, same huge amount of damage in an area. Roadbuster and Half Shell, a bit different. They do a crazy amount of damage to one target. So what you'll find is you get a massive health jump in one big chunk, rather than a steady increase that the likes of Tazkid or Optimal might get. Then you've got Slash and Ripper Snapper, same sort of thing, that you want to get them healing. The amount of times I've used Slash, she's took some damage and got near the HQ, and I feel like I could have done with something to heal her a bit more. And obviously the amount of damage that Slash does, that Terraxodon will do great in terms of healing her. And then Grimlock and Razor Sharp I put in because in terms of warriors, they do a crazy amount of damage when you run in. I personally don't like Grimlock and Razor because of the amount of... They do damage, but the shielding just doesn't seem to be as good because they've got lower HP. But Grimlock and Razor Sharp, because they do more damage, means they heal more, so it's more worthwhile putting it on them if you are going to do it on a rushing warrior. Next, we've got Big Daddy and Groundhog. Now, they can be equipped on any bot, but generally, you want these for defense. That's the main reason you would use them. So, the first choice for me is Red Alert and Run Amok. If any bot in terms of combats in an outpost that you're going to put a minion on, it needs to be someone who does low damage when they stop their ability. Now, the reason that I've put them on Red Alert and Run Amok, Twin Twist, Quellagon, is because once they've stopped their ability, they don't do much damage. They're kind of useless then, really. But having Big Daddy there, or Groundhog, means they still do a crazy amount of damage. And with Big Daddy and Groundhog sitting back, it means that they'll sort of push on, not in terms of melee, in terms of Red Alert, but they'll get closer and leave them behind doing a good amount of damage. Whereas you might have Overload or Cosmos in an outpost where you want them to do damage because they've got good DPS. And that's why you want a good DPS combat with them. Whereas Big Daddy's one on his own. Next we've got Swoop and Scourge. Although Swoop and Scourge is not used as much, they still drop the combat outside the map. And so it's a crazy amount of damage they do and they can't really be killed. So a bit of a bug, but people still do use that and can be used. And so it's a good option to put on Swoop and Scourge for the time being. Then we've got Optimal and T2 Megs for the same sort of reason. The Optimal and T2 Megs are one of the main outposts in the game right now still. Not as prevalent as they were, but still good. And so putting Big Daddy on them is still quite relevant. And then we've got Blur and Runabout. And the reason I sort of picked them is you could maybe pick Cup or any other sack bot really as well. But I feel like the more suited to Blur and Runabout, because they have a bit less survivability, is that you can do your sack and the bot can die. And then sometimes you want to drag them down. Sometimes the bot might die before the likes of Laokaiser get their hack off. And so by having a combat that's going to stay at the back of the map and stay on the launch pad, It just encourages people, or the outpost bots, to use their abilities on that combat if your sack bot dies, and just gives you that bit of a protection, really, rather than having to drop an extra bot and then maybe getting hit by those abilities or whatever else. Just makes it a bit easier. Next, we've got SB Optimus and SB Megatron. They're more used on offense than defense. I wouldn't really use them on defense, and so that's why the list is a bit different than Big Daddy. So, firstly, you're looking at high damage bots, special bots that can't use ranged combats, and there's something just to help them get more DPS. So, SB Optimus, SB Megatron work on your team, but I find that Leo Prime and Predacon Inferno, they don't really have a good combat, really. Not a good combat, not a combat you go to and go, it has to be this. There's quite a few options. And so that's why I'd put SB Optimus and SB Megatron on them. Same for Optimon, T2 Meg, same for Tazkid. Because they're not ranged, you don't straight away go to Nightstick and straight away go to Peacemaker, the main two combats in the game, I would say. So you've got to pick something else. Blaster and Soundwave, I find that they're coming back into the game a bit more. With Mindwipe hacking 2 targets, you can throw Blaster at Mindwipe and he hacks the minions rather than your bots. So I'm finding people using Blaster and Soundwave a bit more. I'm putting SB Optimus, SB Megatron on them, maybe along with Quintus. It's a really good option because they don't really need a combat as such on them. And then the last option is the healer. Same sort of reason that healers, you don't have to have a certain combat. I feel like CL is the best choice, and I know I'm not putting any healers in this list, but the simple reason is because I find that like everyone will go to CL or wrong, and then after that everyone tends to really go for a minion basically, and these are the 2 main minions that you're sort of looking at on offense. Next we've got Sidetrack and Growl. Now Sidetrack and Growl right now are mainly used for sack. Hence why you've got Blades and Dirge and you've got Silverbolt and Thundercracker. Because people will use these to do the airdrop where you fly across the map, drop the combat where you won, circle back and pop some outposts with Sidetrack and Growl. So that's the main option for those 2. Next, after that, you're looking at defense. So you're looking at Red Alert, Run Amok. Sidetrack and Growl aren't the combat they used to be. They do quite a bit of damage, but they're not amazing as they were. Optimal T2 Megs for the same reason on defense, and then you've got Blur and Runabout for the same reason we spoke about Big Daddy, that when you're doing sack you can literally just put him on and it will attract bots to Sidetrack and Growl, and I'd probably say that he's probably a better option even than Big Daddy and Groundhog, because he takes damage, transforms, becomes invulnerable, and just attracts those abilities and attracts the combiner and everything else to the launch pad and gives you that bit extra time just to drag them down. Next up we've got Styler and Sunbeam, and obviously these are only available on Gunners, so for me the best option for these is Blue Streak and Wild Rider. The reason that I chose these ahead of Sunstreaker, who's probably the best gunner in the game, is just because it suits them a bit better. You'll find that most people for Sunstreaker will go straight to Nightstick and Peacemaker, and so Styler and Sunbeam, because they reduce range, and that's what Blue Streak does, you kind of putting the 2 utilities together, and that's where you're using Blue Streak to reduce the range, whether that's with his combat, whether that's with his ability, but it's all about reducing the range of defenses. And so I just feel like Styler and Sunbeam just suit Blue Streak and Wild Rider a lot better. Then we've got Sunstreak and Swindle, simply because I think they're the best gunner in the game. Next we've got Warpath and Skull Smasher, and the reason that they're in front of Smokescreen and Breakneck is that I feel like Glitch and Gatorface are the #1 option for Smokescreen and Breakneck. So for me, I would rather put on Warpath and Skull Smasher. Still a really good bot, keeps him ranged, and really, really good. And then obviously, like I said, Smokescreen and Breakneck, still really good, that it obviously reduces the range of defenses and helps keep them alive. I had it on mine for a while, but I just feel like Glitch and Gatorface is so good on Smokescreen and Breakneck that you can't not really. But if you don't have Glitch and Gatorface, then yeah, Styler and Sunbeam is a good option. And then we've got Skids and Knockout, just because they're probably the 5th most used gun in the game right now. I feel like those four really are utilized so much, and after that, it's kind of open really. Some might use sea spray, some might use skids, some might use sits gun. But I feel like skids without acid, along with obviously rust dust and scavenger, combining the two, is probably the most utilized, and you can put it on them as well. Next up, like we said, we've got Gunner one, we've got Glitch and Gator Face with Smokescreen and Breakneck, obviously the most important one. Because it dragged them back so much, you need it on a bot with almost infinite range, and that's why Smokescreen and Breakneck and Warpath and Skull Smasher are the two bots at the front of that. Because you want something with really good range. Next, you've got Sunstreaker, because Sunstreaker still got really, really good range, so it doesn't matter if he sits back too much. But keep that range in mind, guys, because it does keep them well back. Next, we've got Blue Streak and Wild Rider, because his range is not as good as Sunstreaker, really. So you don't want to keep him back too much. Again, that's why other combats like Nightstick will get them a bit closer. But I feel like Glitch and Gatorface is still a good option. And then we've got Sea Spray and Octopunch for the same reason, Skid to Knockout. It's not a lot of people using Sea Spray and Octopunch right now. Those four are the main four gunners that everyone is using. And then after that, it's kind of open, really. But Sea Spray and Octopunch have a decent range still on their ability. So using Glitch and Gatorface is not the end of the world, but it's not the best, I would say. There are other better options for Sea Spray and Octopunch. Next, we've got Warrior Special. We've got Solus Prime. So I know there are other weapons on here, and people probably thinking, going, where's the rest of the weapons? For me, I don't really rate the rest of the weapons. I'm not a big fan. I know that Shield Run's not here, on here either. I'm not a big fan because it can pop output when you don't want it to. So there are some things in here I've missed off because I'm not a fan of. But Solus, I feel like, is the best weapon in the game. Probably one of the best combats in the game, whatever you want to call it. And put it on like the likes of Optimus, T2 Megs, Tazkid, Antagonist, Robust, and Half Shell. The reason they're on them is simply because if they run off and die because they're frontline bots without having a shield, without having a rush which gets them out of trouble, I find that they're the ones that are going to die first if trouble does happen. And so Solus just gives them that extra lease of life. Obviously stops them getting hacked when we're saying that hack is so important right now in the game, and so having anti-hack as well is really important. The reason that you don't have other bots on Solus is simply usually because they're better elsewhere. So the likes of Rust or Scavenger, for example, the reason that she's not in this list of Solus, although it can be used with her, I just feel like Nightstick and Fracas, Peacemaker, bots like that are more geared towards Rust or Scavenger, and so Solus is better on a special melee bot rather than ranged. Then we've got Drift and Barricade, because a lot of people are trying to solo bases with Drift nowadays. So be careful of not using flare mines, guys. So because of that with Drift and Barricade, the thing is though, if they do get caught in a flare mine, at least with Solus they have an extra lease of life. So what you can do is you can pop an outpost because of a flare mine, let Drift and Barricade die, you can pop your combiner, and then they'll come back to life again quite quickly. So it's a really good option to use Solus on Drift and Barricade if you are going to try and solo bases. Then we've got Pipes and Headstrong as well. And the reason that I put that with Solus is that's how I have it on my war team. Now, I wouldn't say that is the best use, maybe, of Solus, but it is forgiving in the sense that if you do use Pipes and you've forgotten FFD or something happens where you might lose Pipes, sometimes Pipes is so essential to keep alive in a team that if you do lose him, it's almost like the end of the world, that you're going to lose the battle. But if you have Solus on him and he goes right down to a low level of health, you don't have to panic and throw some healing on him or rush him away and use ability points, because once he loses health, he's going to come back pretty much full health and give you a bit of a chance to recuperate. And quite a few times that's happened to me. I've not panicked. I'm like, I don't need to rush him to get health back. I don't need to throw a heal bomb down and waste ability points. I'll just let him lose his health, replenish his health again, and then I can judge where he's at after that. Because then we usually by that point, whatever was hitting him to reduce his health, it will probably retarget and his health will come back again. So really good use of Solus on Pipes, like I said, but not essential. But I just like it for how forgiving it is. Next we've got Pinpointer and Singe, obviously only available to A class. And I think the main one for me is SG Jetfire and SG Thundercracker for the amount of DPS that they do is a crazy, crazy amount. And I feel like if you're using them guys, then Pinpoint and Singe is an absolute essential. Next, you've got Blades and Dirge for the similar sort of reason that they do crazy amount of healing. Silverbolt and Thundercracker, same reason. Air Raid and Slipstream, Brainstorm and Skyhawk. So all very similar reason, but these are probably the main 5 bots that we'll use in the game right now. The most used by the top teams, and so that's why you're better using these 5 air bots than anything else. And that's my list of all the combats in the game. Well, sorry, the top 12 combats in the game, and how I think you should equip them to other bots. Let me know if this helps. Let me know which of these you use in your war team, if you use them on these bots, or if you think that something's better used elsewhere as well. Let me know in the comments, guys. And I hope it helps some people to improve their war scores and make their team a bit more versatile. Let me know. So what everyone's put in? Candyman. Where is Rabat? Fair point. King Grimlock combat but not weapons. Well, you've got Solus, so yeah, it's the only one I think is decent, really, to fair. Tracks. Why isn't Victory Leo on the list? Because I don't know. I find that Victory Leo is decent on defense but rubbish on offense. I just don't like him. King Grimlock, Sleeping on Cosmic Rust Blaster. I just don't like it. I don't like the range of it personally. Cheeto, it's J's like Glaze, not Jazzy. I know, but I like to call it that. I just find it funny. Darklands Blur can go toe to toe with Deluge and take no damage and nothing else pound on him when Trice is equipped. I won't get that far. Not with Deluge, nah. Darklands Kunai and Wheeljack. Yeah, Kunai and Wheeljack is a good point, yeah. But again, I just find Kunai anywhere else is like, nah, really, yeah. Trax has put top heavy work well for Warpath. I don't really like top heavy, really. I don't know. I just feel like the damage is negligible for me. Trax has put Whirl works good with Styler. So overlooked. I'm not a big Whirl fan. I know you are though. Yeah. I don't use Warpath at all anymore, to be honest with you. Yeah, but I know people do. Trax has put that uses Warpath to weaken Scorponok. It doesn't hit Titans. If it does, then that'll get fixed, I think. They shouldn't do. Darkland's got Buzz Strike on pipes. Yeah, that's a decent choice. Cheeto, I don't use Headstrong or pipes anymore. Yeah, but with the war effects the way they are, I feel like you will eventually, though. The combats are self-explanatory. Yeah, well, you'd think that highly classified. But the amount of people that message me and go like, oh, who do I put this on? Who do I do this with? You'd be surprised, honestly. Blade 19 spot definitely helps. Already took a screenshot to save it. No problem. I'm sure people will. Jason Rowley's put the new starter but isn't good enough. No, I don't think so at all. Not even close. Cheetos put I use Peacemaker on Cup for sack. Buys him time. I don't have to worry about mines. Yeah. Track support. Victory Leo brings old cryptic passive to Rust Dust. Leo Prime whoever has it. I know, but it's also reduced the range, which I'm not a big fan of. Grind time. Sorry, I missed the whole list part. Can you go back for them all? No. Just screenshot that and just trust me. Just do that instead. Tracks is the secret button. It's called the replay button. Yeah, you could just rewind it or just go and watch it again, to be fair. Yeah. Good point, Tracks. Good point. Cool. I feel like I'm flying through this today. maybe the content's really quick this time round. So yeah, if anyone's got any questions or anything, then stick it in the chat, guys. Just got one more thing to talk about. I don't want to disappoint people and close the stream early, so yeah. Right, classifieds, but do crystals need a buff? Crystals need a buff? What do you mean by that? I don't think crystals need a buff, but I think they need a use. Definitely. Cheetos put, really depends on your preferred tactic, how you apply cores. Yeah. It's a fair point. Yeah, everyone's sort of a bit different, aren't they, really? Yeah. Drax has put that milkshake isn't causing brain freeze. It's not real. Because it's a milkshake, not an ice cream shake. Predicat 19, what about Sport? I just feel like Sport doesn't do enough damage. I don't know if it's working correctly. But no grind time, not a question. No. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Sport personally. Let me just try and find a minute. See, I've not even gone for the 5-star version. Not even bothered. I'm happy with all my combats. You can see there I got 7 million combats back. Just sat there because I don't really need anything else. What? Where's 4 stars? What? I've got a Sport in 4-star. Surely. Wow. Oh yeah, there he is. I thought, jeez. Yeah. So 194% of the bot's DPS, and then 10% less per bounce. Hasn't it got a bit less range though? See, it should say this. It should say how many square range everyone has got. I'm gonna tell that Dale as an update. They need to put how many squares range they all have. But then it's different for every bot in it, suppose, so you can't do that. So yeah, that's not great, is it? Darklands, who do you sub out when doing the no medic tasks for wars? I don't do them. I don't. I literally just do the I just battle just generally, and then last week I do my elimination mode, and so as long as I get the combat shards, I'm not bothered about skins really. As long as I get the combat shards, but I don't even need them anymore really. So I've even got loads of them. So I'm not too bothered really, if I'm perfectly honest. Yeah, I've got 27k of them, and that's not including the yeah, 5,700 combat chips I've got. So yeah, I don't do them. I'm not gonna lie. Blade 19, was a crystal don't need a buff, we just need more of them. We definitely don't need more crystals. We definitely don't. Highly classified HG19 update. The update is no update. That's the update. Look at all those bots in the yard. What are you on about? Oh, Bobby. I didn't see Bobby in the chat. I messaged you earlier, but you didn't get back to me in time, sadly. Unless you want to do it now. I'll send you a message, Bobby, actually. I'll pick you up anyway. Bobby's put though, what is a good bot for pathing? It depends on what you're trying to do. I mean, for bots like this that obviously create splits, you want a bot that does a high amount of damage quite quickly. I actually use Rust Dust, just one use to try to clear one half and then go the other way. Leo Prime as well. It all depends on the base. But if you've got a base like this, which is resources at the bottom and defense at the top, then any bot that does a decent amount of damage in quite a big area, basically. But what I feel like you've got to do is, you've got to accept that if you use whatever bot it is to clear an area twice, you're probably not going to use that in the top area. So, for example, if you use Rust Dust in the bottom section where the resources are to path your bots a certain way and to speed them up through the base, you're probably not going to use a Rust Dust a third time at the top section. Probably going to be too expensive, and especially when looking at cost changes coming as part of the balance changes. And so for me, what I do is, if I'm using Rust Dust for the bottom, I'll try and use Sunstreak for the top, or Leo Prime, and something like that. Skid's obviously good because it stops healing as well, but you generally find that most bases are split like that, and so if they are split like this, there's no Micronus at the bottom. No one's going to put Micronus down here. So the acid part of skids is not really that important. But skids 6,500 damage. Obviously, compared to rust dust, it's a bit less. So yeah, I think rust dust is probably the one, but you got to be careful using it too much and not being able to use it for the top. So maybe Leo Prime or Sunstreaker as well. But Sunstreaker got great range, so a bit of a loss. But that's why I think Leo Prime's still decent and relevant. Maybe a bit expensive for it, but you can clear a decent area, and you tend to find that the bottom sections are all sort of in a sort of line, if that makes sense. So yeah. Oh yeah. Probably put the screen zoomed in. Thanks. There we go. Grind time, but you must complete all the tasks. No, you don't. Darklands. Any news on the freaking GUI bug with Combat and Prime? What? What's the war battle takers of it? GUI bug? What's GUI? What? Combat and Prime. I don't know what you're about. Not a clue. Not a clue. I presume that's a typo. Drax put they cut the seasons in half, so they should cut all the challenges by half. Like only 3 non-minute wins and so forth. I don't think that's gonna happen, are they? That's not gonna happen, let's be honest. But Bobby, let me know if you can do it and if it's done, because we're literally, that's gonna be the next subject. Anything else people want to ask in the chat, talk about, let me know before. Well, try and give me a bit of a chance to do that if you can. If you can. If you can't, you can't. I've got a plan around it anyway. But if it's maxed out, that's creating it. I know that everyone's been asking for sort of maxed out primes on the test server. But yeah. Alright, cheers, Bobby. Thank you. Darklands. You have a combiner ready to be deployed and Prime is not deployed. You mean Negatronus, you mean? I presume. So if you got a combiner ready to be deployed, I presume it means, and Megatronus is not deployed, if you have an app crash, then when you come back to battle, the abilities are gone, and you can do anything except Titan ability. Alright, okay. I think it's just a bug then, a crash thing, yeah. I've not had my game crash at that point there, but hey. Christian Last Trap. I hope that's I got it right. Will they come up with headmasters? I mean, there are headmasters in the game. I mean, there's Brainstorm for a start. Obviously Mind Wipes. Who else? There's obviously Snapdragon, 8-Face. So yeah, there's is that everyone? I think. So yeah, there was quite a few headmasters already. But I've always said it'd be so cool to actually have it where they transform into another form and have a headmaster. How cool would it be if you had Brainstorm, say, as a bot, and he does an X amount of damage, and then let's just say he transformed and his health went down, say, by 30%, but his DPS increased by 50, and you could switch between the two. That would be pretty cool. Something around that where not just like you just transform and the head came off and they used the ability and then he went back on again. You've got to, again, if you're gonna do something around this around headmasters, like go and utilize it properly. Go make it like it's something that will change the meta in the game, and that should be the new big thing. I mean, I play Marvel Strike Force a bit and I play Clash Royale a bit. And with Marvel Strike Force, when they bring something out, usually it makes a huge impact to the game where everyone wants that. Now the meta constantly changes. Old bots still, or old tunes are still useful. But new content, for me, that's what I mean about the primes. New content needs to be, everyone wants to chase it because it changes the way the game is played, or changes something in the game where people want that. One, because it's cool, one, because it's effective. Are the primes cool? Yeah, they are pretty cool. Are they effective? No. And that's the problem, that everyone likes how they look, everyone thinks they look really good, they're bigger than bots, and all that sort of side of it is really cool. Everyone loves the primes and the sort of lore behind them, but they've got to be effective in game as well and make a use where they they're the next content that everyone wants. So you can't not do an event. So when we talk about this event this week and I'm saying 30k, I might not bother. But then why? This content should be like, oh my god, I need to do this week event because I need this Megatronus part because Megatronus is awesome, he's amazing. I just don't feel like they got that right now. Yeah, Candyman's put Power Mark to Optimus Prime. I don't know why I don't do more Primes. Every other game that I've played, if you do a Prime, everyone wants it. Everyone wants it, regardless of how good it is. Because you've got these Optimus, we've got Optimus, SB Optimus. There's plenty of Optimuses in there. But everyone does a Prime, whether you play the game or not, it's a Prime. I'm not talking about the Prime, the 12 Prime, I'm talking about an Optimus Prime or such things like that. So why not bring out like a Power Master Optimus Prime? Why not? There's some bots in the game I'm baffled at why they're not out, like that, for example. What else? Grand Transport, I've got zero faith in the Yodos even being able to think of something like your idea of Headmasters, much less be able to actually develop them. I know, I can't decide whether they just lack a bit of insight and lack a bit of imagination, or whether the system itself is just so restricted that they can't do anything. But then all I hear is that they've put in loads of effort into new things and they're trying to push boundaries on what the thing can do, and they go, oh, we can't. Like, for example, everyone wanted to combine on defenses. Oh, we can't do that. The system won't let it. Then they worked out a way to do it. And there's been so many times where that's happened where they've gone, yeah, we'd love to do that, but the system won't allow it. And then they've gone and worked it out. So surely all these things that they want to do and have plans for, they can have some grand ideas and go, well, maybe that's not available right now, but it is available down the road. I'm sure triple changes weren't viable when they first started out, but worked it out as well. There's loads of things, I'm sure. I think classified support. I'm still laughing at the heathen sub out. Yeah, with it. So, Captain Flintspot. I'm all about any headmasters. Can be as simple as slightly higher stats on their bot. Still a lot that can be done with a bot speeding up a bigger ability. Yeah, I'm a massive headmasters fan myself. It's a huge avenue I don't think they've touched upon, and they brought out some headmasters, but I don't think it's enough. Just bringing them out and being like a similar bot. They were different. I think the whole thing around headmasters when they were released as a toy, and when they were released as in the cartoons, was like, look at what these can do. Like, can you imagine in that storyline if they had headmasters and they were like, oh, let's combine as headmasters, but we won't be any better than what you are now. The headmasters would be like, well, the bots would be like, well, why would I bother having you inside me? The idea was that they came inside them and made them twice as powerful, or 10 times as powerful. Well, not 10 times, but made them more powerful. And that's why they combined. They're not human, I can't remember the call, not humans, but you know what I mean. Someone put it in chat anyway. And that's why they combined with them, to make them more powerful. So they should be more powerful in the game. But they're not, just another bot. But they just used sort of. They could literally take Brainstorm, take him out, and put any other bot in there. Why use Brainstorm? That makes sense. If that makes, that's what you get what I'm saying. They could have used anyone else. Brainstorm being a headmaster doesn't matter. It's just another bot. That's another air bot that suited it. Whereas they should have really, like I said, made headmasters good, made them viable. And Bobby has come through. What a legend. So we can show that as well. Dartlands Support Wheeler's coming out with a deluxe class toy. Maybe we'll finally get him in game. I think so. If they start releasing bots again. Track support. If a freaking combat can survive a bot's death, then by all rights, headmasters will work. I suppose, yeah. Darklands leveling prime sucks. Why haven't I bothered? Yeah. Cool. Right. Let's get onto this. Test server. Okay. So I did hit up Dale trying to get me a maxed out Megatronus so I can show you guys the maxed out stats and something we're sort of looking towards. And thankfully, Dale was a bit busy, was driving, so I can't really get it done. But thankfully, Bobby has come through and give us a maxed out prime. So let's take a look at his stats. The first time I'm looking at stats as well. So this is the maxed out stats of a current Megatronus, what we're sort of aiming towards. Now, don't get me wrong, these stats might change, they're not set in stone, but it gives you an idea. And I sort of wanted to look at what changes over time, whether the abilities evolve. So these don't quite match the live server anyway, so it's not going to be a huge amount of. You can't really take these as gospel that this is what it's going to be. But I think the idea behind it is generally the same, that it's going to be reducing DPS, increasing fire damage received in an area, and obviously have an absorption shield. I'm not sure if that's on live or not, but that's the general idea. The second ability doesn't really change that much, the special ability. The special ability just generally comes in, deals damage in an area, done. So this is the prime at max level, max rank. So then we look at the Requiem Blaster. So we equip the Requiem Blaster. Now this does change its special ability. So enter the battlefield from above, dealing 2 times DPS in a small area on impact, and proceed to shoot the nearest target for 11 seconds, dealing 1.5 times DPS and 1.8 DPS fire damage over 15 seconds. So Requiem Blaster currently obviously increases that special ability, but also has different aspects as it gets upgraded as well. So we've got ability 6, as you can see there, it adds spreading fire to Megatronus. At level 11, it gives him a DPS increase. At level 16, it has bouncing shots. So let's upgrade him and let's see what he's like maxed out on the battlefield. So here we are with a maxed out Megatronus. Let's take him to battle. Let's see what he can do. Here's Megatronus Prime. Go down, see what damage it does. There's damage in an area. See, there's actually transform there. That's pretty cool that it's transformed. Just do some alright DPS there. I mean, this is a HQ 17, 16, I think so. There we go. You get the general idea. So I think first impressions is, I like the fact it turned into a tank, and for me, it should turn into a tank every so often and do a crazy amount of damage in an area. I think that would be really, really cool. I'm a bit disappointed that as you rank him up, it doesn't get much better. But I just feel like 48,000 health and 700 damage. When you compare that to most bots we've got, it's quite similar to a warrior, but without any ability, without any kind of shielding. You can't heal them. And so I just feel like they're not that game changing. Personally, I'm looking forward to when we get some Gunner Primes. I imagine that some of them will be tanks, like Megatronus, and they'll be frontline. I imagine some, maybe like Micronus, will be a healer. I imagine some will be like Solus might be a gunner or something. I'm looking forward to having some different primes that will add DPS to my team, because right now this guy is a frontline tank. Now for me, a frontline tank protects your bots, and this guy doesn't do that. He doesn't do DPS. He isn't a tank. He doesn't do much in that sense. And so for Megatronus, really, I'm not too bothered about playing his events. What I am bothered about is any primes that will be gunners or healers. I think they'll be really beneficial, because then I can maybe drop a healer from my team. I can add a gunner in. Or if it's a gunner one, I can just add more DPS. So I am excited for some of the primes and what they're going to do. But I'm not excited for Megatronus. I feel like they've not hit the ground running with this one. I feel like he's just something to chase rather than being really effective. Yes, it does look cool. But is he effective? Is he something that people want to chase? Is he going to be the thing for HQ19 where people are like, listen, you need a prime, you want to compete in Prime League or Unicron? No, he's not. If anything, I feel like it's a bit of a distraction right now, and not really useful, really, in terms of top level war, in terms of top levels of the game, and for him to actually even be effective for lower down players. I feel like you need to max him out, and people from lower leagues are not going to be able to max him out. Does Requiem Blaster make him crazy good? No, I feel like Requiem Blaster is alright, but you've got to think that it increases the DPS by 2 times with 1.5 DPS. When the DPS of the bot is like 700, increasing it by 2 or 1.5, 1.8 is not going to do that much, really. It's not going to change that much. Oh, it has doubled it when it's for 378. So it's 378, and that doubles it to 700. You know, if he did 1000 DPS and the Requiem Blaster changed that to double DPS, it might be a different question. It might be a different, outlook of it. But I just feel like Primes right now, or Megatronus right now, is a bit underwhelming. But I am quite confident if future Primes are not all tanks, not all melee, then I feel like they could have a bit of a use. So if you can get hold of So if you can get hold of Universal Prime Spark right now, then yeah, I would consider chasing that and keeping that. But I think they've been clever with it by just releasing Megatronus Spark right now. But Universal Spark, I think, will be beneficial to try and get and try and keep. So what do you guys think? Megatronus flop? But are you excited for the rest of the primes? Are the rest of the primes going to be at least half decent and give you something extra to your team to maybe be viable at HQ19 and make you get through bases and challenging the top levels of the game? Are they just something to collect because they're pretty cool? Let me know in the chat what you guys think and whether you're excited for the rest of the primes.
Down on spot. What is the XP required to get to level 70? A lot. A lot. A lot. Yeah, Traxxas put these stats for the Prime inspired me not to bother with it. I know they are really, really low. I don't know why they've kept them that low. I don't know. Yeah. Darklands Requiem Blaster. No, it needs its own. Had its own resource in it. If you saw. Cuddy Fox has put it's in testing. It might change when it comes out. I don't think it will. I don't think it'll change that much. It needs to change Megatronus. It needs to change Megatronus and keep the Blaster as is. The Blaster's alright. The problem is Megatronus, not the Blaster. Yeah, Blade 19's put a year's worth of leveling. It will probably take that as well, the amount of XP it needs for something that's not even as strong as a bot. I wouldn't even say it's as strong as a combat, I would say personally. Yeah, Cheetos put when effects come back to Prime, the Megatronus will die instantly. Yeah, I agree. True. Yeah, Cuddy Fox, I want to see Onyx Prime. Yeah, I'm excited for some of the other Primes. I'm not going to lie. Just not this one. Grantan, the Prime's weapons should charge up and we should be able to aim and release it. Well, don't about aim it, but you should be able to charge it. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, you know. I said that about charging abilities a while back, and that's not a good idea. That's not a bad idea. Is having a Prime and having a charge up, and it charges up, and you can go bang and use it. A bit like Titan abilities. So yeah, I'm pretty good. I bit the two-legged dog over Megatronus. Cheetos pot. Wicked. We're Wookie has put any details on other primes. No details at all on other primes at all. Nothing. Blade 19 put Megatronus should have massive health to take damage. Yeah, we need something, yeah. Darklands support leveling needs to be easier for primes. Yeah, I agree. Definitely. What are they going to do in Nexus Prime? Jason Rowlers put, can't judge the Prime, so another one comes out. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I would agree with that. I think when the next one comes out, it's not melee, then we can judge them a bit better. Maybe just Megatronus is crap. Who knows? Traxxas put, Primes are a flop. Too little, too late. With the trust broken between players and the 8s, they will have to bring out something cheap and big to help the game. I don't know if it has to be cheap, it has to be good. The game needs a big injection of something. Captain Flint put, the cheaper the lower you attack. Seems like a starter tool. I'm ready for the paperclip to come up. Bad start. But can be fixed. Maybe. Candyman's put is okay. Nothing game changing. That's the point though, isn't it? Surely it should be. Blade 19's but excited to see where they go with them. The Megatronus big flop. I don't think that's the problem, innit? If the first one was really good and the second one was pretty good and the third one's a bit of a flop, I can be like, well, yeah, they just need to try and find the balance with all of them. But the first one you need to get right, don't you? The first one needs to hit hard. The first one should be coming out and everyone's going, oh, I need this Prime. And by the third Prime, you're already chasing it because you see how good the first one was. But now, because the first one's such a flop, I feel like when the second and third one comes out, people are going to be like, nah, I'm not really fussed, really, for this Prime. You know, and that's where I am right now about it. So I don't really like that about the second one. But we'll see. We'll see. Cuddy Fox has put, with it being 13 primes, well, that means that Star Combi being the 13th, will be another 13th prime. I don't know. I don't know. Don't know. Jeff Emmons put, the game-changing part is the free 9th bot. Yeah, the problem is, though, it's not a bot, though, is it? It's not, I wouldn't even say it's good as the combat. So, if they brought out a bot tomorrow, say, that would equip 2 combats,
Is that going to be game changing? No. It will help a bit, but it's not going to be game changing. But I'd even put that, a bot with 2 combats, above a prime right now, without a doubt. And even that's not game changing. Cheetos put, well, they set the bar low. Easy for the next one to better, but then again, they never seem to amaze me how they view the game. Yeah, they always release content not good enough for me. Blade Nancy's put, what makes it worse is he's meant to be the most powerful prime. I know. I mean, the reason they picked Megatronus is because of the toy line. But you're right. That's another reason why it should have hit hard, Megatronus. He should have hit hard. He should have been so good because, like you said, he is one of the strongest, not the strongest of the primes. According to law, he ain't going to be. It's going to be pretty woeful. But yeah. Could he focus put on its prime should be able to boost the beast transformers? That's what I'm on about. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? If you have a prime in your team, he boosts all this. That'd be pretty cool. Megatronus should be able to boost all the fire. That'd be pretty cool. Micronus should boost healing. Be pretty cool. And that's what I mean, that you can choose your prime going like, oh, I want this prime to do this. And even if a prime sort of did 2 effects, even Megatronus increased fire and helped scouts or whatever or something. I don't know. I'm just thinking of like, special bots or something. Warriors increase stats of them by something. It gives you a choice then of going, oh, in this situation, I'm going to use this prime. Each prime should have an effect on the battle. Different. Every single prime should have an effect on the battle different than the next one. Definitely. That's the problem with Titans as well. The Titans don't have a big enough effect. They're slightly different, but they all have the same use because they're too similar. They all need to be a bit different. Dallas put synergy impact. Yeah, they should have some synergy with the game. They should. Jason Rollins put, I thought Prime was supposed to be the strongest Prime. No, I think Megatronus was really, when he sort of went out on his own and tried to kill the rest of the Primes, didn't he? My understanding is. Grandstan's put, Primes just feel like another half-baked idea released way too soon without enough review or testing. No, I think you've got it spot on there. I think they're a really cool idea. They could have been really, really good. And I think it is a half-baked idea. It's just a bot that just stands there. And they were rushed out, I think. Yeah, I agree. Also, without enough forethought. Yeah, I completely agree. Listen, I've always said, I don't think that the team are doing these things maliciously. I don't think that they don't care. I just don't think they even spend the right amount of time on it. I think they rush things like that. That's the problem. They don't spend the right amount of time going through things and really thinking things and testing things. I know that Yanis sort of like heads it all and lets people do their own thing, but I really feel like Yanis just needs to go, right, listen, anything that comes through, I need to look at it first and see where it is. It's all really good going like, yeah, like having a free open thing where you're like, listen, do what you want, guys. I don't know if Yanis does, but for me, in my job, I check over everything pretty much. Anything anyone does, I go and check it, and that's my job as a manager. But yeah. Grant says, but I still honestly don't think the Yodos really know how the game is played. Well, some of them play at a higher level, but maybe, yeah. But that's the thing, though, they have playtesters then don't really trust the playtesters. Because the playtesters say something needs more, and they go, we don't think so. I've literally seen that so many times, that's the frustrating thing. Where they do something and we go, it needs more, and they go, nah, it doesn't. I'm like, what? And they know best apparently because it's their game, but hey, what we know. Trax says, but well, you don't need to check others' work if their work is solid. Yeah, true. Yeah, I've got to admit, there's one manager in my pub that I hardly check their work really, because they've not given me reason to, because their work is generally very, very good. I've got some good managers, don't get me wrong, but one of them sort of stands out really good. And yeah, I hardly check her work, to be fair. Leave her to it. She has an easy life. Well, I say that. She doesn't. Jason Rowley's put, they're trying to ride the wave of toy releases without giving proper testing. Yeah, I agree with that as well. Yeah. Tell because they make real milkshakes. They don't bring it to the yard like me, do they? They don't. Yeah, Dartlands put Powerglide example. Yeah, I think they are buffing Powerglide, but that was madness with Powerglide. Crazy. Canis Macromax, but we all know how bad melee damage dealers are currently. He's basically Hunger and Snarl, Healer Prime could have an impact here, I agree. No grind time, didn't hate giveaway. Nothing to give away. Nothing. Don't give anything to give away anymore in that sense. Big releases we get things and all that, but it's all manual now. I have to message the agent and I have to give it out. So there's no like codes or anything like that, sadly. Looked good in testing, then prod release, he sucks again. I don't think he's got good in testing either, really. You're talking Megatronus. Yeah. Yeah, pretty kind of seen about Brownicon. I think it's more licensing that I think. I don't know. Who knows? Right, well that is it for this week, guys. Much appreciate everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to hit a like on the stream and don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed already. That's the most important thing, trying to get to 10k subs. So don't forget to subscribe, please, guys. We're back next week as usual. Go and check out Frasius, who I think he's streaming straight after me or next half an hour or so. Go and check out his stream. I'll be there. And I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching and peace out.